And 3, 2. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Path. Hope you're doing well on this Sunday afternoon / evening / whatever the hell it is in Australia and other parts of the world. I'm here with Jack, and we are doing a World Eaters tier list. Jack, how you doing, man?
I'm tired,
good.
But good.
Yeah,
I'm been a long week, but good.
Good. Is it hot?
It's not that hot. It's been like warm enough. We've had like a lot of rain in the last couple of days, so it's not the best, not the worst.
Okay. Yeah, I know. When I was there, it was oppressive, and don't want it. So if anyone in the chat, if our levels are good audio, if you can hear Jack and I clearly, just give us a thumbs up. Let us know. So Jack, let's have a little chat first before we jump into it. Let the hopefully some more people drop into the stream and stuff like that. How did the game?
I tried to get a game in this Tuesday, but I recently got a puppy and did not want to leave my wife with a, at that point, 2 days into our house puppy for 4 hours, so I did not. So I haven't had a game yet, unfortunately, although I am really looking forward to Warhammer World, and I'm going to take my janky and untested list, which is going to be funny. I think Dara's basically said the whole weekend is about pints, so I'm also a little bit concerned about that because I know Dara can probably outdrink me, which is
So someone said there was an echo going on. That was probably me. Just let us know if it carries on since I put my headset on. We got a new kitten recently. So I will say there is a non-zero chance the stream is taken offline if she decides to play around the modem and router. It has happened a couple of times. It's super annoying. Alright, so give us an update again on the audio. Hopefully the double voice still. Don't know, we've both got headsets on, so it should be good now. I've had a few games. I think I'm 10 games in to 10th, so it's a decent chance to start.
Cool.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Joker. It's a decent number to sort of really have a bit of a feel for it. Not obviously nowhere near as expertise as I would be sort of like a year ago on what we had, but had some tough games and stuff. And I don't know. I'm having fun. I'm liking it. But we are such a severely limited roster. Like, it's just the diversity of units. There are, a few other issues which, we'll probably talk about as we go through the units on the tier list, to be honest. But the overall edition is fun. Some core rules, obviously, are going to get fixed shortly, I think. But yeah, I'm really enjoying 10th. And yeah, I can't wait to hear your opinion. Because it is a big change. When you start clicking with the tactical missions and stuff, it's one thing to read them and kind of get a strategy, but when they come up in game and you have that game that's like the tacticals all hit in the perfect turn, you're like, hell yeah. And then you start off and you've got behind enemy lines and investigate signals turn 1 and you're like, fuck, it's we just can't deal with that. But what is for you, like, what do you think the biggest challenge is going to be when you start playing games?
Tactical missions are going to be a big change because as someone who I'd never actually played Tempest or like Maelstrom was the previous iteration, or not seriously, not with like real people. I say real, like proper opponents. I never played it. Competitively. I think getting used to like that dynamic. I like it. I like the concept of it. I just think it'll take some getting used to for me. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. I think also just sort of there's some little tweaks to the turn sequence that I'm definitely going to forget stuff like some of the stuff in the command phase that's it being moved into the command phase now. I think I'm going to miss. There's stuff's in a very slightly different order from something I'd like for night. I think I played like 2, 3, maybe 400 games of like 9th edition 40k, so like getting out of that practice is going to take some doing, I think. Yeah, because I pride myself on being able to play pretty fast. In ninth, by the end of ninth, certainly I was able to play very fast. And I'm going to be going from that to checking fucking everything.
Yeah.
So hopefully I get some good opponents. Hopefully I can get some games in for Warhammer World. So I have down at the clubs where I know they'll be good opponents. So that sort of like collaborative help each other, help me through when they don't really mind if I'm slow or getting stuff wrong, and they'll just gently correct rather than accuse me of cheating. So
yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, I think now we can go ahead and jump into the main part of the video, the tier list. So let me cut us over to that. Alright, so it'll probably show up here in a few seconds on the screen for everyone watching, but we have our incredibly professional tier list here. I've decided to give us S tier, A, B, C, D and Z tier, whichever part of the world you are from. So we've got all the units just from the World Eaters Codex. I didn't add allies because it just makes it too complicated and just too diverse. Like, we can maybe do something like that later, but for right now, I've got them, I believe, roughly in order of where they appear in the codex or in the index, I guess.
They're not at all.
I figured
they're not at all.
They're not. No, I've got all the characters, then I've got the troops, then I've got
yours. Yeah, the ones on the screen. The link you sent me, they're not.
Okay. Oh yeah, the link you got. Yeah, I don't care about what you see. But yeah, so we're going to start off with Angron, the big man himself.
To clarify before we get too deep, this is internal balance and not in the scheme of 40k.
Yes. I suppose it's a bit of both, because we do want it to be like what the best units are.
That we get.
I think it marries up anyway.
It's just like
okay.
Cool. Let's go.
Alright, so let's start with Angron. First of all, just initial thoughts from S through Z. Where would you put Angron before
up towards the top?
him?
He's been every list I've written so far. So, like, probably high A at the moment.
Yeah.
I'd
definitely.
One of our only sources of full rerolls to hit. I know people have been talking about trying to shoehorn him into an artillery captain role. I don't think it works unless you have like a full shooting list and you just pack that 6-inch aura with stuff. Because you'd have my general rule of thumb, and it is just something that I've invented in my head, is that a buffing character should buff 3 times the points that it's worth for it to be worth just being a buffing character. So for Angron would have to buff like 1,200 points of stuff, which is like 3 Lords of Skulls. But then you've got all 4 units that you have in the world in one like bubble, and you don't play the mission, and stuff will die. But like, is it worth it?
Yeah. No, I agree. The reroll hits, I generally play it basically as a buff for himself. Or like if I've got Terminators nearby,
nice addition. It's a nice addition helpful. If you don't need the +1 to charge. Which
I have done a couple times. The shooting or the artillery general type thing, the only list I made with that, and it was vaguely sensible, was Angron and then 3 predators, 3 las predators, and they would go in strat reserve and they would just pop out.
It's not a sensible list. He said even vaguely sensible.
No, it's not. But as far as going to use him for a shooting list, because he would just drop in with them, or ingress, give them the rerolls, then he runs off and charges something far more important. But it's not a competitive list. It's just
if you tried really hard.
Exactly. All right, so I've got him at A. I think that is
obviously he's fasting codex as well, which is great. Like he's toughness 11, which is really fucking tough now. Although all those complaints about him being toughness 7 last edition, they have been heard apparently, because toughness 11 is pretty tough. Obviously 2-up base save, keeping that nice. 4-up in 1, also pretty nice. Say that.
Yeah. I will clarify with people in the chat. Where we put them at first, they may get dropped down. You know, if we suddenly figure out that we're putting, or put up things like there's an obvious disparity, we will adjust as we go. So let's go on to Mr. the Betrayer, Kharn, betrayal of everybody. So I really like Kharn right now. How about you? Just from a datasheet perspective.
I know. I really want to really like him. My only hesitation is that we're pushed for good, berserker leaders. In my opinion, my uneducated opinion, you're always going to put 3 Master of Executions before you look at Kharn, because Fights First is so fucking broken.
No, I agree with that. However, the force multiplier he can offer. A flat damage 3 with a boatload of attacks, nothing to be sniffed at. Obviously, the rerolls to wound was one of our only sources of rerolls to wound. Pretty strong, and he's only 95 points. His betrayer thing is quite less likely to go off. I don't know the maths on that. I'm just saying. Probably less likely to go. It's your own fault.
Really. And then obviously Fire and Death built in is pretty nice as well. So for only 95 points, he is nice. I just can't. I think if you're looking for elite, if you go wide on Berserkers, loads of 5-man squads of Berserkers, and that's your list, sure. But I think you're always going to take 3 Master of Executions before you take on.
Yep, I'd generally agree with that, but I think, honestly, at the moment, we should be taking 3 Masters of Execution anyway, competitively. I think, even if you're not taking the Berserkers for them to support, they're just such a good mission-playing unit.
Yeah.
And the cheapest recipient of the glaive
and that's what I mean. I think
so.
Master of Executions are also a decent force multiplier, and they fill a gap, I think, that we struggle with, which is Fights First armies like Custodes. It's a counter to that, whereas Kharn is just Chain Axe Go Burr kind of thing. So he's a more blunt force multiplier, whereas a Mo is more more of a chess piece, I think. So I think Kharn. I mean, we talked about the Mo a bit there as well, but I think Kharn is probably B tier. He's good, and 95 points is a steal for him. I think it's just that we have slightly better options. I think.
Yeah, for sure. I would personally, I'm B plus. He's not as good, obviously, points relatively, as Angron. But I think he is very good, and I think he should be considered in most lists. And as you say, if you're going wide on Berserkers, I know Dara's been using him in a blob of 10 Berserkers. I don't know if that's necessary, but and also there was a little play we talked about having a Rhino in strategic reserve with 3 Moles and Kharn.
Sure. Who the fuck came up with that? Was it you by any chance? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, it was me. Because that is nasty when it pays off. But anyway, I think he is very good. But we'll put him at a sort of strong B for right now. Which takes us on to the Demon Prince without wings. So this is the guy with the 4-up invul and
I'm just going to say fucking S tier
on charge.
Someone, not me because I'm not painting it, someone run fucking Demon Prince on for 120 Jackals at LGT or LVO and win the event. Do it. Cowards. You wouldn't.
Kevin Leonard, he did it. In one of the first GTs of 10th there. He did really well. I can't remember where he put.
It's a disgusting list. You can get Jackals with a 5-up shrug and a 4-up invul. For what, 7 points a model?
I know. Yeah. Well, yeah, 7.5 basically each. But then, I mean, we're looking at the Demon Prince by himself to start with. Yeah, of course, you've got to consider the 4-up, but then, you're playing a very specific build.
I mean,
which is a good build.
But a 4-up invul, I mean, it's not necessarily... I mean, that's obviously that build taken to an extreme, but it's still good on, Berserkers. Yes. Berserkers with a 4-up, a 6-up shrug and a 4-up invul. Suddenly, pretty tough to shift as well. Like, especially if you factor in like having if they're like delivery systems for your Mo or for your Kharn, everything having a 4-up invul on, pretty nice. Obviously, devastating wounds on a flat damage 3 weapon is also very, very nice. A flat damage 3 weapon that's strength 10, pretty good on the charge, or it'd be strength 11, but yeah, it doesn't.
He does his mobility holds him back a lot because obviously no breaching, and a lot of our infantry will just outpace him. The stuff you're going to want the 4-up invul on is going to outpace him.
Not necessarily. I mean, he's got an 8-inch move. He'll have to move around things, but he's got an 8-inch move, and most of the stuff he's going to be buffing is 6-inch move. So I don't think that's necessarily an issue. I think if you're running a Demon Prince on foot, like the devastating wounds is like a nice addition because it means when he's moving up, buffing your like Butcher Horde or whatever, or your Jackal spam, and he's just like he goes into the hard target while they go into the chaff around it, because that's what the devastating wounds and the big strength weapon is, I think. But maybe I'm wrong.
I'm gonna have to push him. I mean, I would, in the right builds, against the right matchups, I think he's very strong. I think generally though, in like a take all comers list, because someone commented really, like the Jackal thing, the Jackal spam list, armies with blast are just going to chew through it, even with a 4-up invul and 5-up feel no pain. Just the amount of firepower that's out there. We'll get them down to where they're just squads of 5 or 6 getting battle shocked.
I just think like we need to be aware that there's a lot of these units, if we apply that logic, doesn't go that well into the top armies. Like not much stuff goes that well into the top armies, to be honest. So So what tier would you put seriously, I'd probably put him on a level with Kharn, probably high B, maybe slightly ahead of Kharn.
Okay, see, I'd go C. So let's put him at B for right now. I think so. I think try him out, get some reps with him, and see. Maybe if the meta shifts enough. I think he's very nice. It's just the lack of the ability to get like
that's fair. That's fair. I'm still getting used to some of the keywords. So him being like he can always be shot, so you just have to hide him. So when you do bring him out, and he's a chunky model as well, even without the wings, he's a chunky model. So let's drop him down to C. Yeah, that's a good point. He can be shot quite easily.
Okay. All right, so that gives us the Demon Prince with wings now. Obviously, he has fly, can deep strike, which is huge. Can get rerolls to hit and wound against a target. Dies at the end of the game, but whatever, that's generally not going to matter. And I think he does devastating wounds or mortal wounds on the charge.
At the start of the fight phase, each enemy unit within engagement range of this unit must take a battle shock test.
Yeah, battle shock. Okay.
Yeah. Basically, he's got Disciple of Khorne. He's the Skulls for the Skull throwing missile that I used fucking loads in the credits movements.
And you would give him the Berserker Glaive.
Yeah, he'd be a
because his mortal wound output. Sorry, he won't have mortal wounds on his attacks, but the amount of damage he could do is just
he's a
very strong.
Seeker missile. Basic.
If he had devastating wounds,
that's why he doesn't. That's why he doesn't.
That would be
with 4 rerolls to hit and wound. That's why he doesn't. So, but I think he's basically like if you want him in your list. I've also seen there was a list that did quite well that had double Demon Prince with wings. One had glaive and one had the helm. The like half damage. Is that the half damage one now?
Yes.
And they're just guided missiles. Like you use them. Like we use them for Skulls for the Skull, like I use them for Skulls for the Skull 3. But against whatever. You pick something you want to die. You line up a charge with the 12-inch move, fly, and
after ingress, you've got to ingress the missiles.
If you ingress the glaive one and you hide the helm one, save the helm one for a late game, whatever, and cowabunga the other one with Ingress.
The thing is,
I don't think
it's internally.
Yeah, I don't think he's very strong because for the same reasons. Like he shoots, he gets shot really easily. He like his use is much more offensive, obviously because he's flying and fast and shit than the one on foot. But he dies too easy. It's like it's a gimmick almost. Like you ingress him in, which costs 2. It's like very resource heavy because he's already quite expensive. He's like 200 and something points, right? He's cheaper than the one on foot, but he's still 200 odd points. And then Ingress is 2 CP.
Yeah.
So Ingress is only 1 CP? Okay. Ingress is 1 CP.
Ingress is 1 CP.
It's quite a lot.
Deep strike, so it'd be
it's quite a lot of resources for something that might not even come off. Because like 7 attacks on the charge. Admittedly, assuming you're charging the right thing, it's with full reroll hits and wounds.
Yeah.
But 7 attacks could be quite swingy, especially if you're going in something that has an invuln.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, most big things that you want to kill with this probably will have an invuln. Like situationally, he could be good into things like Imperial Knights that don't have invulns in combat, but
it's situational. I think he's a C tier.
I think he's probably pretty much on par with the one on foot. I don't know if he's better or worse, but
Their units, like my vision for like the tier system, I guess, is an S tier would be as close to an auto take as we could run. An A tier would be a very strong choice that you should certainly consider. B tier is something that, if you kind of focus the list around this unit or this combo, it's good. C tier is, he's going to be part of a list, it's going to have a role, but it's not necessarily winning you games. D tier is like almost auxiliary stuff, and then Z tier is you're just not running these. Okay, so that takes us on to the Lord Invocatus, who I've played a few games with. I think I've had about four or 5 games with. 6 games because I took him to an RTT as well. And I like him, but I don't love him.
I can see that. I think like he's had a bit of a glow up. Like I think he's better than he was in 9.
Offensively,
he himself for sure is better. Like devastating wounds. Like is way better than ignoring invulns with low strength attacks. I mean, he's still relatively low strength, but devastating wounds gets around that to a certain extent. His rules, like fall back and charge for the unit he joins. Whatever. Like I don't think you ever use that. You either hit stuff and kill it, or you don't survive long enough to fall back and charge. So fine. Road of 8 Bloody Steps is obviously less good than it was, probably, because you can't move as fast. So it's not the like maybe auto win alpha that it used to be. It wasn't auto win alpha, but you know what I mean. It's not point and click. Obviously, it still makes stuff very fast, and it is useful. But obviously the big thing that's changed is you can take him and Angron in the same list and still have the pre-game move. So it opens up some more options. I mean, I'd put him A tier, to be honest. Most of the lists that I've seen have had him in. I am not sure if I want to. I mean, you know what my meme list is for 1-on-1, but I'm not sure if I want to run him. Just because I'm still working out like what I want my list to look like, and I think you have to build a relatively specific way, because once again, like the yardstick we're comparing all our HQ or characters to is the Mo, I think, and like maybe having Invocatus in with a unit of like 8-bound or something, and then he pre-game moves 2 units of Berserkers with Mo's in up into like staging or whatever. I could see that being a use, or pre-game like Jakhals if you want to scream that kind of thing.
The best way to if you're running Invocatus, you have to list build around him, and you're probably going to dedicate just a 3-man squad of 8-bound to sit with him, just to give him some ablation, and then you're going to probably want 2. I'd say larger squad, certainly one large squad of either Exalted 8-bound, or maybe a large Exalted 8-bound and some Terminators to kind of stagger. But you've got to have a lot of stuff that's going to get up the board quickly, because you're going to hit their screen with, you know, whatever gets there first. And you've got to be able to keep penning them in and keep holding them back so your shit at the back can continue to score you points. So I'd put him at a B.
To be fair, I had actually forgotten about the Terminator play, and actually that was one of the lists I was looking at, was 20 Terminators, Invocatus with some 8-bound, and have that as like a, not even an alpha, but like a funny meme.
Yeah, it sets you up at stages.
I mean, if he's B tier, he's definitely ahead of Kharn, I think.
Yeah.
I think he brings way. I think he brings way more.
I think Invocatus is overcosted, and Khorne is very nicely costed.
I still think he's better. So, I think he brings way more utility to the list, like to the army. And devastating wounds actually makes him. I feel like he's probably more likely to do more damage than Khorne, but I don't know. Yeah, especially if we're talking about attaching him to 8-bound as well, right? So, right.
Yeah. I mean, that's just I don't know if you necessarily do that. It's just like the best thing just to save
and we were talking about this as well. Like, it feels weird attaching Invocatus to a unit of Berserkers and it just halves his movement. Cool. Like, sick.
Basically, yeah. Or just go from the back to the front or something. Yeah. Okay. So then we get to the Lord on Juggernaut. Have you got his data sheet there? Because what is his attachment rule? Because offensively, he's only -1.
He's not amazing really in and of himself, but he's got 2 attachment rules, and both of them are pretty good. Reroll any of the following rolls: Advance, Charge, or Blood Surge. Pretty nice. Reroll charges is pretty nice.
Yep.
Especially if you want to strat reserve shit. Pretty nice. Bloody Stampede. Each time this model unit ends a charge move, select one enemy unit within engagement range of this model and roll 1d6 on the 2 to 3. That enemy suffers 1 mortal wound. 4 to 5, that enemy suffers d3 mortal wounds. On a 6, that enemy unit suffers d3 plus 3.
Yeah. That's pretty nice.
Well, it's
nice.
A chance of a decent amount of mortals. The reroll charges is quite powerful, I think.
Yeah.
Reroll advance just adds some, if you're footslogging them. That combination of reroll advance and then reroll charge is means you can go for some pretty long bomb charges with the unit he's attached to, which can be pretty strong, especially if you chuck him in a unit that you scout up with Invocatus, maybe something like that. Like a big unit of Exalted 8-bound with one of these, then you do some mortals on the charge, and you're likely to get quite a long way across the board with it.
I just don't see a role for him. Like, he has
again though. It's we're comparing him to other HQs, right? And we have.
Yeah.
I'd say we have quite a competitive HQ choice field, and. I really like the reroll advance and reroll charge, and the mortal wounds is nice, but it's not going to kill stuff. Kill someone.
Well, I know people in the chat are sort of saying he's really good, and maybe I'm missing something here. It's just the problem with both him and Invocatus is movement. It's a big problem, especially competitively here. We're going to be using the new GW stuff, so there's lots of ruins everywhere, and you're just zigzagging around all that stuff. And in player place terrain, your opponent will see that, and they'll just you just don't get a straight line.
I think there's probably a strat reserve play with him though.
There is, but then I think there's much better.
But your strat reserve play was Angron and 3 fucking Predators.
No, that's not my serious one. No, like Skull Taker and Bloodletters, things like that. Much more serious stuff there. I would give him a C just because I think the scout move from Invocatus is probably better overall than the reroll.
Reroll and scout move is better than. Scout move is definitely better.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's consistent. Like, a reroll is a reroll. Like, if you're rerolling 9-inch charges, you're probably going to lose the game anyway, because that's...
I think I'd potentially slot him in between the two Demon Princes. I think he's better than the guy with the wings, but no, maybe better than the Inron, but I don't know. They're all very...
Okay.
All three of them are quite situational, I think.
Yeah. Okay, right, we got a pretty easy one here.
He's
the Master of Executions.
Fight first is a disgusting rule.
Internally, he is S. Yeah. Just in case there's anyone watching who isn't familiar with him, he's got so much going for him. He's cheap at 80 points.
80.
Or was it 85? I think it's 80. 80. He gives fight first to... He can only attach Berserkers, but he gives them fight first, which is excellent.
Fight
he
first
deletes
is so
characters
fucking
like devastating wounds with
and precision
wounds.
So he can target the characters and always take advantage of his full rerolls to hit and wound. And then, you fish for sixes and just do all the mortal wounds in the world with 6 stacks on the charge. So.
Yeah. Essentially, you're adding 5 Berserkers to a Mo for 115 points to give him an extra 10 wounds.
So he can get there.
Some, decreasing attacks, so he can get there, and that's fine because, like they offer you some more objective control and stuff like that. And I know some people think like the Juggernaut or the Demon Prince is the best way to run the Berserker Glaive. It's the Mo. The Mo is 100% the most efficient way to run the Berserker Glaive, and it's not even close. Just because rerolling hits and wounds, like he's one-shotted Mortarion for me, he's one-shotted the Incarn, Knights, those are like good dice rolls.
The ability to do that in an army where we don't have much else that can do that.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. I think he is excellent, and I think you will typically be running 3 competitively. The good thing about the attached leader thing, right? You don't have to do it till you walk up to the table. Okay, I'm playing Custodes or an army with lots of fight first, or the ability to get fight first. Yep, 3 Berserker squads are getting a Mo each. When we now have something that will protect against their charges, we can play the game a little bit. Or you're playing an army, like you're going against Knights or something, maybe you separate them to get more bodies on the field, bring them in from strategic reserve to do your deploy teleport homes and engage
I just
and stuff like that.
Fight first is just a disgusting rule and shouldn't exist. Like it shouldn't exist in its current iteration. Like the fact that you can sit back and play really defensive or uninteractive or whatever and say come to me and I'll still fight before you is just it's bonkers. I don't.
But think about this, Jack. Me and you play a game. We both have a Master of Executions attached to the Berserkers. I charge your Berserkers with a Mo,
I fight first.
With my Berserkers with a Mo.
So I would say
first. Like.
So I have mixed feelings because obviously you want to get the most out of your characters, your attached characters. You attach them to big units, but if you have big units, then you lose board presence, and they become Death Stars, and because everything in our army is fairly easy to kill, they don't even become particularly good Death Stars. So I'm not necessarily sure about 3 Mo's. I think 1 definitely, just as a vehicle for Glaive. And you could potentially put that in a squad of 10 Berserkers, and that can be a strat reserve hammer unit. Like I know Dara fucking loved using 10 Berserkers as a hammer unit in 9th. But I'm not sure about 3 because that is quite a lot of points actually at that point. That's a decent chunk of your army.
The only thing I'll say, you will notice playing tactical missions,
single models,
you're going to need cheap action guys. I'm working on a list that's got a couple Bloodmasters in because they deep strike, which is a bit better than strategic reserve, but I don't have the models, so I've been using Mo's at the moment.
Fair.
So you do need, and deep strike is better than strat reserve, but
strat reserve will do a job.
The amount of points, the amount of points I've scored. I mean, I could look back if I could remember the exact points, but I'd say strat reserve Mo's are scoring me, 10 to 20 points a game. Assuming I get the right secondaries in turns 2 and 3. They are point scorers unless you have to use them as combatants, and the attachment allows you to make that choice. and that just adds to the value. But yeah, 3 maybe isn't necessary, but I think there is a very strong.
Yeah, I think 1 is just sort of insurance as well, because like for all we want to be charging, like there are situations where we're going to come up against stuff that's faster or stuff that is going to make that like boxcars charge, like just get a bit lucky, and so we are going to be charged at some point. And like having a Mo there just like nullifies that. Like, okay, you want to charge me? Fine. Come at me, bro. Like, for all we want to be charged. Like, it's insurance. And like, as I say, it's not like fights first is his only thing. Like, he annihilates characters as well. And there's obviously... there's a big emphasis on characters this edition, by the looks of things. So, All right.
So let's go on to Berserkers themselves. In my opinion, Berserkers are fine.
Yes, they are.
They're overcosted, and they either need to come down about 10-15 points, or they need to have a little tweak to their killiness to just come up a little bit. But it's a really precarious spot. You know, we've talked about this a bunch in Discord and stuff, and I don't know if there is a right answer. I think a points adjustment probably is the best for them. It's just a shame that Chaos Space Marine Legionnaires are just better than them and cheaper. And that's a shame because they just don't, they don't have their fights twice anymore. Fair Rarity just says they're ablative wounds, and honestly, that's often what they feel like for me. They have done work, but then they also fight.
I think they've been like, so they've been because we've seen like 4 or 5 iterations of Berserkers over the last 2 years, pretty much. They've gone from a boatload of shit attacks to less attack, like significantly less attacks, but they're considerably better. And now we've just gone to the same number of attacks, but back to the old profile. So like they're now just not very many bad attacks, which sucks. And like I think going back to, so they were 90 points back in, it was 18 points model for the axe and sword guys in the 8th codex. So they were 90 points 5 for a shit ton of like bad quality attacks. But played the game superbly because they were really good trade units. And like 90 points would feel better at this point for that number of AP1 strength 6 attack or 5 or 6 attacks. Blood Surge is great, but it can be quite easily. It can be so easily countered as well. Like it's just like, okay, I'm not going to shoot them. I'm just going to charge them instead. Like fine, okay.
Yeah. Every time I play like Don or I play against like high level opponents, RTTs and stuff, they're like, okay, so you can Blood Surge, so I'm like 7.1 inches away. I'm like,
I think the Eviscerator is nice, but it's too low attacks to be like reliable, basically. I mean, like the OC2, which is nice, I guess. Ablative, I think most of their power, and I've seen someone suggest where they should be, and I don't think I agree. I think their power is their versatility, so like pretty much all of our characters can attach them, right? That all the ones that can attach to Berserkers. So they're just ablative wounds for any character that you care to attach to them. Obviously the icon is decent because it allows you to game your blessings rolls, but you can do that cheap with Jakhals, so that isn't really a plus. Blood Surge, as we've said, can be played around very easily, and it can just negate the whole mechanic, which means they essentially don't have a special rule. Great. So I would put Berserkers probably top of C tier, maybe. Just because they're like a delivery method. They're basically what Rhinos were for our units. Like they.
I would put them. It's hard to compare them to characters like internally because I think you are generally still running Berserkers. So I think top of C tier because you're probably still running them just to give you some objective control and to give you some wounds for your mums.
The thing is though, like for me, like the attractive part of the Berserker data sheet is the Icon of Khorne because it allows you to like fish for a buff. But you can do that cheaper Jakhals. You can do that 40 points cheaper Jakhals. The reason Berserkers are going into my list at the moment are for characters. Like so I can put a Mo with a Berserker glaive in. or so I can put a Mo with Favored of Khorne, or so I can put Kharn or whatever.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you're more likely to take Berserkers over the Demon Princes and stuff.
Yeah, so that's what I'd say. Like ahead of the Demon Princes for sure. But I don't see a world where they're like on a level with Kharn. Like they're there to make sure Kharn gets there, right? And that's it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So Jakhals.
High AOS.
I wouldn't put them at S, but I would definitely agree with a B plus or A tier myself.
So,
but yeah,
lots of attacks still. Like 3 attacks on the charge each with sustained hits. Pretty fucking hilarious considering there's 7 points model still. 6 up shrug, big glow up from last edition, also really good. Obviously no AP is fine because it's not really what they're there for, in my opinion. You're there to drown the opponent in attacks. Obviously objective ravaged, really strong for an army that wants to be going forwards. Icon is the cheapest way to game your blessings roll. So there's like they're not going to kill stuff, but the amount that they play the mission and for their points, how hard they are to shift, and some of the synergy with maybe the Demon Prince on foot. I don't think there's many downsides. I think they're also like the cheapest unit, barring Spawn. That fine. They're the cheapest unit we have access to that isn't a character. Well, they're cheaper than all our characters as well. So another good thing obviously is you can if terrain isn't in your favour or you're playing player placed or something and it just doesn't work, you can throw a squad of Jakhals up onto an objective or just on your home objective if you're playing like a weird GW one or something, and they die. Okay, cool. I'll just spend a CP, and that if you haven't already stickied it, like if you go first and stuff, or you're going second, you don't get to the end of your command phase and stuff like that. They get shot off the table, 1 CP. That objective's mine now. I just don't care. Like you've got to come and take that objective from me. So. All right, can we agree on a strong A tier? I think they're below Angron because I fucking love Angron. I'm an Angron simp.
Okay.
So.
All right. Okay. We'll put them. They're next to each other. They're equal. There we go. All right. The Defiler. This one shouldn't take long. Yeah, the Defiler is a great data sheet.
I really like the data sheet.
You love the data sheet is very good.
Horrendous.
Yeah, you're just going to have a really hard time playing it unless you've got a very favourable set of terrain with lots of 4-inch or lower walls or large gaps to walk through. And he's not as tough relatively as he was in 9th edition, and he didn't see much play though. Yeah, but 210 points.
He's got quite a lot of guns, hasn't he?
Yeah, you can at least upgrade him to the Twin Las. But then you have to sacrifice the Scourge for, I think, the Reaper Autocannon or something.
No, you sacrifice Twin Heavy Flamer for the Scourge. So the Autocannon switches out for a Las Cannon, and then you can have a combi weapon on him, and he's got a flat damage 3 cannon? Yeah. Strength 10, minus 1, but there's not many like battle cannon profiles are like more than -1. D6 plus 3 shots is pretty nice.
That's what, Is it Blast? Okay.
Yeah, like
it's not awful. You catch Terminators out.
Terminators or Custodians out in the open. You're pretty nice into. But the big selling point for me is the fucking claws that are strength 16. Even the Scourge is strength 12. Like our third best even the Scourge is strength 12. Like he's got a 3-up, 5-up. He can benefit from the blessings, which will never not be funny to me. Like an advance and charge Defiler is fast.
Yeah, I would put him at a C tier, just because. Well, maybe D.
Yeah, I'd put him D. I was saying it in one of the channels in Discord. Like the data sheet is hot, but when you get the model on the table next to some terrain, it's just like, oh god. So I'd probably put him D as well. To be honest, like it's a shame because the stat line is really good. It's just the model is fucking massive and clunky. And I know you can model him. He is an old kit, so you can model him like smaller. Yeah, like hunched but
up,
like he's still quite a big footprint. which will be hard to get around any like decently terrained board.
If he gets a new model that puts him, there's some Necron kind of
Triarch Stalker
character. I think is it the Triarch? Yeah. If he's more like that kind of,
big.
oh, you got one.
He's pretty big.
How's?
It's pretty big as well. Yeah.
Okay, that is pretty big. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Context. That's a baby knight versus him. So like he's quite quite wide and like long. So
yeah. But somewhere in between those two, I think he'd go up to like probably a B tier if he
became small. If his footprint was
at the moment his footprint's the same as a Lord of Skulls because I use a Defiler base legs for my Lord of Skulls and they're 6 inches wide, like 8.5 long or whatever.
Too big for something that's not that tough.
Yeah. Okay, Exalted 8.
Regular
8-bound. Regular 6-inch scout move.
It's hard not to compare them to what they were, and I think they're just worse than what they were in terms of raw stat line. Scout 6, obviously, a downgrade from Scout 9, essentially, or Scout 11 with Invocatus.
Yeah.
Their melee profile is significantly less good. Eviscerators have lost a couple of points of strength. They're only AP 2 now. You've lost an attack on them as well, potentially? Is it 6 attacks?
Yeah. I mean, there's 7
that
attacks
is
on
right.
the
No, there used to be 7 attacks right on the charge. There were four base plus 2 for each, one for each Eviscerator, and then another one for the charge, I think. And then, heavy chain glyphs been nerfed. Strength 7 and only 8 attacks. Lacerators, potentially slightly. They're about
the same. They're one of our few sources of damage.
It's plus 1 strength, minus 1 AP, and the attacks have stayed the same. 3 up, 5 up is the same. Scout 6, as we said, downgrade. The main thing that is a big buff is they are our other source of reroll wounds as an aura, and it's all World Eaters units, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
So reroll 1s to wound within 6 inches of this unit, or if the attack targets a unit that's below half strength, you can reroll the wound. It's 4 rerolls. So if you were going all in on this dumbass artillery captain build, you'd strat reserve 3 Las Predators, Angron, and a unit of 8-bound.
And it's only combat. They only roll
melee
for combat.
It's only combat. You didn't hear the rest of my plan, which was charge the Las Predators into melee.
Okay.
Jamie.
Oh,
fucking idiot.
All right,
obviously, that's how you go with Las Predators.
Of course.
I also they're way too expensive for what they do. They're like 45 points a model now.
Yes.
55 points a model or something like
that. Was it 155 for 3? So it's 50 points and some change each.
And I think the reason we're seeing so many of them in lists at the moment is because people have fucking loads of them for when they're really good.
Yeah, that's all. 90% of World Eaters.
Their entire.
I know if we went back and watched what's your whack weeklies, if we looked to like episode 1 or 2 and there's like 50 World Eaters players, by the end of 9th, we had like 400 or something? Something. So 90% of World Eaters players own 8-bound, Invocatus and some Berserkers and Jakhals and Angron. But so I think datasheet wise I'm okay with them, but their points is ludicrous. Like they need, I think at 40 points a model,
it's like the old versions were like quite expensive for what they were at 40 points a model, and these are just worse, I think, than they were. So 50 whatever it is, someone's worked it out in the chat. 52.3 recurring points per model is too much for this.
My camera's gone. There we go.
So I would. They're definitely worse than Berserkers. They're definitely.
I'd put them at like a high D, very low C.
The thing is, I think they're probably better than Demon Prince on wings.
Okay. Yeah.
I think like the aura of reroll wounds is very nice.
Okay, yeah, that does. Yeah, okay. I'm happy with like a.
Low, but like slightly ahead.
Yeah, like C minus kind of thing. All right, so then we get on to Exalted.
This is a different. This is different. I like Exalted Eightbound. Still probably too expensive. However, anti-tank, which we do not have much of. Their attacks are strength 14. They have fewer attacks than they did. I think one fewer attack now than they did. Wait, what?
Yeah, what is it? 4 attacks up to 5 attacks with their chain fist, or like 6 attack, 5 attacks up to 6 with their eviscerator, or 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 with the chain fist. If they could use both weapons,
that'd be
I would
great.
pay
but
what they.
Yeah,
because they hit on 2s with the light weapons
so,
and 3s with the heavy
there's
weapons.
So there's what, like 3, 4. There'll be 8 damage 2 strength 14 attacks. And if you take the paired chain fists, there'll be another 6. Oh, they're still damage 2. They're just twinning now. Oh, that's shit. Okay. Fine. Like, the strength 14, really nice. Damage 2, less nice. AP 3, pretty nice. Like, I would say they're possibly better than they... No, they're probably not better than they were. In the scheme of new toughness, they're better than... They're good because we don't have that much that's above like strength 12. Like after las cannons, there's not much for us in terms of strength weapons. Obviously the native deep strike is nice, makes them a good ingress target. Feel no pain on top of a 3-up 5-up, also pretty nice, especially because we can buff it to a 5-up shrug. The no fallback thing is whatever. Like, it requires people to take a leadership test. Fine. Like, sure. It's strength 14 and AP 3 are the selling points of this unit, I think, but they're really expensive as well, right? They're more expensive than Eightbound, so it's like maybe if you want to take melee anti-tank, but then like if you want to take melee anti-tank, take a knight or take Angron or a Defiler.
Yeah, I think there is a play for them in like having a big squad that ingresses in. If you can get like. If you can stack them up with reroll wounds from an Eightbound and reroll hits from Angron, they will, even at 2 damage, which I know is a source of contention, because they're an anti-tank profile without anti-tank damage. Yes, they will, but they have to get everything through to the opponent's side. That's the problem.
And that becomes a lot of resource investment for a squad killing a tank.
Yeah.
Which, like, what if your opponent has like 5 tanks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. We can't bring enough to do it, and it's a shooting armor edition. They won't make it. So, I don't know. I'd probably put them below.
Yeah, I think they have less synergy, and like they as you say, they have the anti-tank role, but they don't necessarily do it that well. Like they just do it. The fact is, they just do it better than some of the other stuff in our codex or index. But they. So
our C tier is kind of filling
what does that say about our army?
I suppose with a bell curve. Yeah, no, I know. Well, I know we've got at least one Z tier unit coming up. But all right. We'll adjust C tier. Let's get the whole tier list done.
I would put Exalted below the Winged Imprints. I think the Winged Imprints is just better at what they do. With the 4 rerolls. So
okay. Yeah, that's fair. All right, Terminators.
So I think A. I think they're A.
They're definitely here. Yeah. I've played with them a lot. Almost every game. Admittedly into some rough targets, but they're consistent. They're good. They're very tough. Like T5
2 and 4 up is nice.
4 up is so nice. And the option for -1 damage on them is like you go into someone who's 2 or 3 damage and like I'm doubling the amount of attacks you will need.
Question though, how do you run yours?
Yeah. I've run them as a 10 and I'm currently
with a weapon loadout wise, I mean, right?
But so I max power fists, max chain fists. I've been using Reapers and then
combi weapons. Yeah, that was my cut. Power fists
Yeah,
are 3-up
just
weapon skill now, aren't they?
because
Never asked that. Yeah, okay.
Yes, yeah, they are, yeah. And the chain fists are fine for when you absolutely need to, but again, they're 2 damage, which is annoying, but at least they're anti-vehicle 4-up, I think, right? Or 3-up. I can't remember. The chain
Anti-vehicle
fist is
3+, yeah.
something.
But it's still 2 damage and not that many attacks. So,
yeah.
like, it's nice to have, but it's not going to, like, one-shot vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, like, I really like them. And like, their data sheet rule is also really nice. Like, below starting strength is +1 to hit, and below half strength is +1 to wound, which
is why
makes things really nice. Like,
I do like the 10 blob for that, and as soon as, depending on my GT, lists are locked, unfortunately, but I will go back to a 10 blob just because, losing 1 out of a squad of 5 is like 20% of your thing. Losing 1 out of a squad of 10 and getting +1 to hit, you've still got 90% effectiveness, which is probably better because you've got
I've been some of the lists that I've been seriously looking at have had 20 Terminators, and it's either going to be a 10 and 2 5s or 2 10s. And I'm just working out if I have the models for it, because I have a weird mixture of combi weapons, and then it would be like a weird mixture of like marks of armor as well. And my thing is they all have lightning claws for me, or like accursed weapons. But so it would be saying, oh, this is just a spiky power fist, like.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing, and whatever gun they've got, I said, look, the heavy weapon is a Reaper, the other guns are combi weapons. Like, if someone's gonna pay that much attention, then it's not gonna be a fun anyway. So, would you put them in front of Angron or not?
Oh yeah,
I would myself.
I think probably. I think probably because they're versatile, because they have the deep strike, they can do actions and shit as well, right? So, but I'd say top of 80 for the Terminators. I think, especially with that loadout.
They are pushing S tier. They are so close. It's just
195 points is a really competitive price for them as well. At top as 5 2 up 4 up as well. I think.
Yeah. Okay. Forgefiend. I think we basically limit this to the
I've seen
plasma
chatter about this,
because I think plasma is the plasma
the way to run it
is. Originally, I thought Hades just because of forcing Battle Shock, but Battle Shock is so insignificant. It's less significant than morale in 9th edition. So
that's awesome. Less.
Yeah, right. It just doesn't matter. So I think you want to go for the high quality shots of the triple plasma.
Strength 10 is all right, but it's not. It's a weird niche. Like it's that Strength 9 and 10 is now like heavy infantry, isn't it? It's a heavy infantry killer rather than So like that. I mean, I guess like if we're thinking about hard matchups for us at the moment, like Custodes, you want to shoot them before they fight first you to death. AP 3 flat 3 damage, pretty nice into Custodes. It is only D3 shots, and obviously you won't benefit from blast as much necessarily into Custodes. Although I know they are running some bigger squads now, I think, or like decent sized squads with characters in is their build at the moment. So like they fill a niche. Obviously, like they're pretty good shooting. They're some of our better shooting, I'd say. If you want to stay within the index, so I'd agree they're pretty good. And you probably just want triple X plasma, right? You don't want to bother with the fucking jaws or anything.
No. I would put them at B tier. They are very good. Like, the data sheet is very good. It's just you can run into a point in your list where, like, we're a melee faction. Yes, you probably want some shooting, but
they're relatively cheap as well, right?
Like,
that is relatively cheap for that, I think.
They're 100. But they're the same as a brigand, which arguably is better. Or other knights.
The brigand's 150 and the most expensive of the little ones.
You can get the one that's got like the melter and the claw, I think, for like 140, 135 if you want, because you feel like I always feel like I need my Forgefiend coming up. I've run it in a few games, and it's like, he shoots a couple of turns, and then the engagement is either across the battlefield and he can't hit anything, or like, the opponent just hides from him.
I think if we're taking it as an index, I think like in terms of the niche he fills, probably high B tier. I do have some of the concerns that we'll get onto with Maulerfiend as well, I'd imagine, which is he is quite a big base and moving him around is not ideal.
It's not great, but
it matters less for him because he's a shooty unit. But
exactly, yeah. All right, well then let's do the Maulerfiend.
Yeah. So have you dropped? I'd say high B tier. I reckon he's better than Kharn. Why have you got Kharn at the highest B tier? What is this?
Because we only had
all the conspiracy. I think Invocatus is better than Kharn. Saying it there.
Nah, like Kharn.
I could trigger you and the rest of the chat but I'm not gonna because I don't believe it, and it would come across disingenuous. No one would believe me anyway. So.
Alright, Maulerfiend.
I really like him. Tank shock shenanigans, good fun.
Yeah,
clean fun. And we're talking about anti-tank. He is strength 14 and actually is D6 plus 1 damage, so he actually has the potential to do things like one-shot knights. I think the buff thing that he gets is great as well. Anything below strike, below starting strength plus two to charge, and a melee attack against a unit below starting strength is +1 to hit. So I would probably still take the Lasher Tendrils and try and put something down to below starting strength with maybe a Forge Fiend, and then he goes in and is suddenly hitting on 2s with a very doable charge, and he's already quite fast, so 10-inch, and then he can go up to 12 with the blood blessing blood thing buff. I mean, melee. We're talking about melee anti-tank options. This guy's way better than Exalted Eightbound. The only concern that I have is cheaper. The only concern that I have is the big base and not being able to get around terrain that easily. But
and that's I know people have talked about it's the strategic reserve, and you just have to pick your engagement and just use your first couple turns to get the enemy knight or the enemy tank over on a flank where there's a bit of a pathway. All right, Maulerfiend's dropping in with a 7-inch, maybe a 6-inch charge with Angron, and he's coming in and he's probably deleting most vehicle type units in the game.
You have to get lucky on damage rolls, I think, because D6 plus 1 damage is still not that reliable.
Yeah, but if enough get through,
he has 7 attacks, hitting on 2s, winning most things on 3s, everything on 3s. Is there anything tough as 14 in the game? The Titan, maybe.
Maybe the Titan is. I can't remember.
Strength 14 is going to be winning most things, or Strength 15 even on the charge is going to be winning most things on 3s. AP2 hurts a little bit, but it's fine. Like, it's the D6 plus 1 damage has the potential to be nice, but it also has the potential to be trash. So I think as anti-tank options go, one of our better ones.
I would put him at high B tier for all those reasons. Maybe low A.
That's where I'm pointing with him as well. I think he's better than the Forge Fiend. I think he's worse than Angron. And I have Jakhals in a different place to you, so we'll go into that in a bit.
Okay.
But Helbrute. Also love the Helbrute. 150 points, right? Nice and cheap.
150, same as a Forge Fiend, same as a Brigand.
Talking about anti-tank once again, Helbrute Fist pretty nice. Flat 3 damage, strength 12. Obviously not as high strength, but it will still do work into most vehicles, aside from the really heavy stuff. And if you know you're coming into really heavy stuff, I think that's the trade-off, is like a lot of the like mid-strength, when you're talking about vehicles, most of the mid-strength anti-tank stuff is flat damage, whereas a lot of the much higher strength is like strength 14 is much more variable damage. I think the build is probably Fist Las Cannon for every occasion. In my opinion.
Pretty much, maybe melters if you're planning on deep.
I also don't think most melters are any good anymore. Strength 9 is too low.
Too low
a case could be made for Scourge depending on your local meta. Strength 8 with a load of attacks is pretty nice. I think Fist is better because it gives it more versatility. And then las cannon.
The hammer. The hammer.
The hammer for the tank shock would be funny.
Yeah.
The other stuff is Frenzy. Have they FAQ'd that yet?
Yeah. We haven't got clarification.
So technically, you can fight
basically infinite shooting. Well, no. Infinite shooting. Fighting is one additional. Well, would technically be one additional time, even though you can't fight additional times.
Basically, Frenzy's just quite funny at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's decent.
Yeah, I would put him. I'd put him at
really?
C tier, honestly. Maybe low B. He's not as good as a Maulerfiend or a Forgefiend. He does a little bit of both, but he's not
even
good,
with the
not as good
shooting.
as either of them. Yeah, because you're not going to get infinite shooting. If you get it, you've
I'd say low B tier. I think he's like the bottom of B tier with what we've got at the moment. In my opinion.
Okay, I can suffer bottom of B tier, but I don't think there's a role for him in an army.
You have better options. So he falls into being a bit of a hybrid unit.
Yeah, the double fist flamer rarity just pointed out. It's just he's slow.
It could be 8
inch
but
with
6.
the buff. Yeah, 14 with an auto advance.
Also, only T9 weirdly makes him like really vulnerable to his tank.
The two up base is nice. The 2-up save, it just deters a lot of small arms fire because they're like, well, shit, I'm going to do nothing against him and he's going to shoot me back. But yeah, I'd say low B, high C. Chaos Sport.
I mean, there are some plays revolving around giving them a 4-up Feel No Pain, which is very funny to me because I didn't realise they had a 5-up shrug base when I first looked. The healing is obviously quite nice, so they can be like brick annoying. They're not going to be like tough bricks, but they're going to be annoying bricks, and they're relatively cheap. And how many can you take in a squad?
Yeah,
just 2. Okay, so they're not even a fucking brick. They're
just
okay. They're bad. I think
they just sit on an objective that you don't need to. They're great. I think 1 or 2 units.
I think there's better things to take
pieces.
for 62 points or 65 points or whatever it is. 65, yeah. I know they're the cheapest unit, but I think if you've got like 65 points spare, you try and find somewhere to drop 10 points and take Jakhals instead. I think.
Yeah, maybe. It's also much easier to paint.
That is true. I have painted at a spawn 20 minutes before I left for a tournament because I forgot once.
Yeah. Alright, so I don't know. I think they're C tier. Like you don't need them in the list.
I think they're bottom of C tier if they're in C tier.
But let's put them in. They're not D tier.
I think they're C tier. I don't because I don't think they're better than Exalted 8.
Yeah. Fair enough. Alright, Heldrake.
Too expensive. Aircraft suck. Doesn't kill things.
I know, I think it was in our chat, I mentioned to you and Dara, I was like, you know what, the Heldrake, if
and halved its points cost,
melee attacks,
then it'd be playable.
You made it like 130 or something, then it'd be decent, yeah. But yeah, it just, even at low points, it's...
Aircraft, they have nerfed aircraft into the fucking ground as well, like, they're just bad now.
Yeah. Which is a shame. It's anti-flight.
With devastating wounds, it'll fuck up aircraft if anyone ever takes any. But
yeah, well, units with fly.
Okay.
So like, but yeah, like I'm not saying it's definitely Z tier at the moment.
It also only has 6 attacks. That's like a maximum of 12 damage, and it has to hit with them first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I don't think we need to say any more about it. Like, everyone knows that.
I mean, Sweeping Predator is not awful, but it's also like 215. Yeah, 210. I don't know. It's around that.
15, whatever.
Too fucking much.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Land Raider.
You go first.
Everyone loves the Land Raider. I think it's great. I just don't think it's... I would stick it in B tier. just because the meta has got enough stuff that will handily remove Land Raiders. Now, if you're going Land Raider, I think you're taking a couple of them. I think 3 might be too much for World Eaters, because then you're just sacrificing actual combat. I don't know. They're fine. I just don't think we need them unless you're specifically building around assault ramp type lists. Alright, hit me with
So I like them as well. My first list is going to run 2 of them, but I'm not taking it seriously. So I don't think they're good. They're not reliable anti-tank because they're only strength 12. I say only strength 12. Like they're winning a lot of like their heavy counterparts on on 4s. And D6 plus 1 damage is not reliable.
Yeah.
I have a very, very jaded view of like random damage weapons, having played with Vindicators for so long.
Yeah.
D6 damage is not good. Like sometimes it'll feel really good, sometimes it'll feel trash.
Yeah.
So like it's not reliable as tank. Assault ramp is cool, and might catch some people out, but a lot of people just play around it. Also, realistically, you're assault ramping like 8-bound Terminators or Berserkers, and there might be a play to make Terminators really fast. Sure, but we can do that anyway with advance and charge and +2 to move and other stuff. Yeah,
and you're only getting 5.
And you're only getting 5 Terminators in there.
Well, 6 if you want to pay full price for stuff.
It's basically like a brick that people get scared of until they realise it's not going to do anything. So like it absorbs a turn of shooting that doesn't shoot Angron. Which is not it's not the worst like use in the world, but it's still like shooting a Land Raider over Angron. Yeah,
Land Raider over Angron. No. If they're doing that, you've probably already won the game. So.
I mean, so my first list is taking 2, and for that reason I'm going to say it's S tier. But if I'm not memeing, I think it's probably like we're going to chuck it in our overcrowded C tier, I think.
I know. I think it's B tier. I think it's like if we're hovering around the mid tables, well, let's be honest, it's probably
to be fair, it's probably better than the Helbrute actually. I think because it's a brick. It's a brick. Yeah, it's OC5 as well, which is not awful. So
yeah, it's not awful in combat either. Like to go if they tag you regardless, you'll pick up 3 or 4. So all right, I'm gonna put him. I don't know. I feel like up here, above Kharn.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe around the same as Kharn. No, actually, I think he's below Kharn.
Yeah, I think he's better than the Helbrute, but that's all I can say with him.
Yeah. All right, he's similar to Invocatus in that if your list
you have to build around having because it's 250 points on its own, and I think if you're taking 1, you should probably take 2. Just for like saturation, and that's suddenly a core of your list. Like, it's okay.
Now we have the Predator autocannon,
Destructor,
which is the Destructor. I'll let you go.
I don't think it's very good. I think it's an anti-infantry vehicle, and we have a lot of anti-infantry in our army anyway. Like, we have a lot of things that do anti-infantry already, like, but with just volume of attacks. Like, AP2, fine. Like, it's better into, like, slightly heavier infantry, but that only makes, the Pred auto... It only makes everything AP2. So, like, I guess the autocannon becomes decent against, like, Custodes infantry, but it's only 4 shots.
Yeah.
Like, and you've got to hit and also wound. And so it's not, like... reliably killing.
It's too it's annoying because it's the same points as the Loyalist one, but
that's because Loyalists are better, Jamie.
Well, I know that. Apparently our blessings, our combat focused blessings account for double the amount.
Yeah, you should just play White Scars like me.
I do think I think it's decent, but it's got a nice price point. It's just it needs something. It needs something to click it over. I would put it in. I'd put both of them, but I'd put the Destructor.
Yeah, I think it's worse than the Defiler.
Okay, yeah. Now, it's annoying. It's D tier because it's just missing an X factor. Like, it's got less average shots. It used to be 3d3 shots, right? But now with toughness going up, it's less effective into vehicles and it's less shots on average. So it's just... It doesn't have the role. And like the anti-infantry is fine, but it's not enough volume.
Yeah, that's the main thing. It's not enough volume. Like it's got an extra pip of AP against infantry, which is fine, but like not great. And it's If you know you're playing custodes, I might bring a couple of them. But I mean, it's something to weaken them down before they make your lines for the charges, right? They're like almost built specifically to handle custodes. No,
but that's not going to be every match. So yeah, I think D. All right, and then Las Predator. I would lump it in as the same because it's the
reroll damage roll of 1. I mean, talking about like variable damage, that takes some of that out of it. And I mean, realistically, you're outfitting it with 4 las cannons or the twin linked and then 2 las cannons on the sides. Rerolling damage rolls of 1, pretty nice against targets because you're only going to be shooting vehicles with it or monsters. I think it's better than the Destructor because it's better at what it does than the Destructor is. Because I don't think the Destructor does anything for our list, for our army that we can't find elsewhere. Whereas slightly more reliable anti-tank damage is something we don't really have. So I'd put the Annihilator slightly higher, I think.
Okay, but still
I think maybe better than the Defiler though. I'd maybe even put it above Spawn, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll put it above Spawn. Spawn have a role. I don't think
relatively reliable anti-tank, I reckon.
It's not. Trust me, it's not.
Okay, well, definitely better than the Defiler, I think.
Yeah. I'll put it as the top of D tier. Okay, so that leaves us with the Humble Rhino.
The Humble Rhino.
85 points.
So
he repairs.
I'm in two minds because I'm stuck in the mindset of like always take rhinos because they're really useful for multiple reasons. Like they add movement to stuff, which is great. Like you can do that tech. Just as a nice springboard unit, they obviously protect things from like indirect or whatever. Is Dara trolling? Is he?
Yeah, he is now trolling us. He has taken over the YouTube account.
They were good, and so I think I'm still like my first instinct when building a world is to make sure I have enough rhinos for my berserkers. But I don't think we need to do that anymore. I think it's a waste of points. They're only AC2, they're only toughness 9, so they're not even that hard to kill. So like, I don't think we need them anymore, to be honest.
I do like one or two of them. I think they're great because not indirect fire is still very prevalent, and they'll keep your berserkers safe, or jackals, depending on what you're doing, safe for a turn if you need them to be kept safe. Whilst they're not anything good at combat, I mean, like the free weapons upgrades is fine to clear out some cheap infantry, and they're just a brick that goes and sits in a part of the battlefield, like engaging on the fronts, or they can do the actions for you. I lump them in with utility pieces, and if your opponent
then he's not shooting Angron or whatever.
And it will take anti-tank.
I do. Yeah, I get. I mean, but it's not though necessarily. It's what I would class as now as heavy infantry weapons. So like melters and.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But melters are wounded on 5s.
That was strength 9.
No, most melters are still strength 8.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? I know the knights ones are.
Most melters are strength 9.
Maybe okay. Well, that's all right. So even if it's 4s, it's better than the 3s.
Yeah.
I definitely.
Yeah. I still see their value as I think the value I see them is, as you say, as utility pieces, and like offering springboard for berserkers. But it's one of those that like you kind of have to build into a little bit as well. Like it only works if you have berserkers.
Yeah.
Which like most lists will, but like
yeah.
I don't know.
I would put them probably as the best
Really?
B tier. I don't know.
I think Forgefiends are way better.
Yeah. No, like I'm taking rhinos in almost every list I build. Forgefiends in about half the lists. Like rhinos offer a lot. Just they're fast. They'll absorb stuff for 85 points. They'll keep you safe for a turn or two, hopefully, and like. Your opponent does not want to have to kill them while they're off scoring you points. The Forgefiend, maybe it's like you get the perfect matchup, but then your opponent can just hide behind terrain. The Rhino does what you want it to do. You're not expecting it to kill stuff.
I think there's quite a lot of stuff in the game, especially at the top end, that could just kill Rhinos quite casually, though. But as in like with like minimal effort. So I.
Yeah, but then it's killing a Forgefiend.
Yeah, that's true. It's Forgefiends like slightly tougher and have the invuln though. Because Forgefiends, what tough is Forgefiends? Like 11? 10. Okay, so slightly tougher. Yeah.
10, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd agree. Actually, looking at the rest of B tier, they're better than Raiders.
Yeah. We can put them on par with the Fiends, like the three of them together. I think. Because it is personal preference. Like I prefer rhinos. Obviously, if you're taking raiders or you're going on a scout list, you're not going to really need them. But I do think they are a unit that they're just good all-round value. Sure. Okay, that brings us on to the last unit, the Lord of Skulls, at his current price.
80.
Not at his...
80. 80.
Really?
Towering, baby. 80.
I mean,
his shooting's decent.
Fine. It's okay. It's better than average, but it's not. He's not a knight.
But
not
he's better than a fucking rhino. 525. What are you talking about?
500. Alright, you can't put him in strategic reserves.
Plus 13 with 24 wounds.
You know, you go second against 90% of enemies. He's dead.
80. Just go first.
No.
Just win the first turn roll off. No. Easy. Secret hacks. Just win the first turn roll off. Go first.
No. I don't know. Like, if he was 500 points, I would agree that he was a very high B or an A tier. He is not. And you come up to 70% of your matchups, he's got a 50% chance of dying turn one.
I mean, but then it's the same argument as like they will have to dump, like most armies will have to dump quite a lot of shooting into a Lord of Skulls to kill him in one turn.
Yeah, but they can. Like, if you don't bring the Lord of Skulls, you can hide your army, most of it. Even Angron will obscure. And if they want to put most indirect into Angron, fine, whatever. Like, not a big deal. Every gun in their army will go into the class and probably kill it.
I think going back up to a 3-up save is actually like not very nice as well.
Yeah, that is frustrating.
Yeah. I don't know. I just really like the shooting, and I really like the date shoot rule that he can manipulate the blessings roll. Because I think being able to pick your buffs, like what you want to use, is quite powerful.
Yeah. I'll give you a high B tier. I don't know if I can go A. I don't think
Where?
I'll put him. I'll even put him at the top.
What, ahead of rhinos?
I don't think he should.
You're throwing me a bone, are you? Just so
happy.
So I don't have to rewrite my Warhammer World list.
Yeah. That's
where would you put it?
Doing your list. Above the Land Raider, probably. I'd put him like mid above the Raider. Yeah, I think that'd be mine.
Okay, I have been building mine as well. and I'll drop it in the
Okay,
chat.
all right.
It's not that different, actually.
All right, on. All right, let me do some background work here,
Do it
folks.
like.
I'll see if I should be able to. Is that your one? Yeah. Okay, it's just brought up your one, hasn't it?
I just sent you the picture in the chat as well. So.
Yeah, I just opened it up. So, right. So this is my one. Okay, can I get them both on the screen at the same time? Probably, if I really work at it. Yes. So we'll do like that. Okay. So, all right. I will. All right, talk us through it, and I'll get them to share the screen while you're talking us
so
through
the main differences are I bumped the Forgefiend up a bit, the Maulerfiend, sorry, up a bit. I think he's A tier. I think his anti-tank is really good, and we don't have that much like really high strength anti-tank. Jakhals, I think, again, obviously I've spoken lots about like the manipulation of the blessings rolls. I think Jakhals are like the cheapest way to do that, and so I think that's quite useful. And they're just like good for like a flood of attacks kind of thing, sustained hits and all that good stuff. What else have I changed? Obviously, I said Angron was really good. Terminators, yeah, we agreed on that. I do think rhinos are good. I just don't think they're as auto take as they used to be. I used to have like multiple rhinos in every list. I used to fucking love them. But yeah, I've obviously the Lord of Skulls I dropped out a bit. Like I was memeing a little bit there, but because your point is a very valid one. Yeah, what else have I changed?
So I've got it kind of weirdly on the screen right now.
So Eightbound. I've got Invocatus ahead of a couple of things that you don't. So I've got Khorne and Invocatus pretty much flipped. And also, I don't think the Land Raider is actually that good. And then, I actually think maybe the Predator Annihilator should be slightly higher up for me because his anti-tank stuff is all right. It's only strength 12, which is a bit of a black mark. Obviously, the one on top is strength 14, I think, which is quite useful. And the reroll damage rolls of 1 is pretty nice. Anyone who was in my channel in the Discord will know that I was stuck on Huntsman is the knight that has the reroll damage rolls of 1 against vehicles, I think, for a little bit because I was like, that's going to make D6 damage like way more reliable, surely. But knowing my rolling, it will just reroll 1s into 1s, so probably not. I think those are the main changes for me. Yeah, I mean it's pretty similar. You put a bit more value in Jakhals, Maulerfiends. Really, I mean, we generally agree. And then, all right, let me look. So my lists definitely got Mo, Terminators, Angron, Jakhals, Rhinos. I guess I've got Forgefiend much higher up beta than you have as well. I think Forgefiend provides us with a really nice niche that we don't otherwise have, which is damage 3 shooting. And like decent damage 3 shooting ish. It's still variable shots, but it's at least it's 3d3, right? If you're taking and blast.
Yeah, and blast, which is really nice now.
I'm gonna have to go rewrite my Warhammer World list though. So you've done that to me. I'm not painting a fucking Maulerfiend though. It's way too much trim.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don says he disagrees with the place of the Heldrakes.
You need to calm down.
Easy. Yeah. 210 points, man. Come on.
Not worth it. And I mean, if we're talking about allies, I think Baby Knights are all really good. They are priced to move now. 150 points for a Brigand's really nice. 135 points for some of the other ones that still have some cool special rules are nice. The data sheet special rules are really nice. I know you and Dara have been looking at demons a bit more than I have as well. So like the Bloodlust character is pretty good, right? Skull Taker?
Yeah, Skull Taker, He's like a Mo that deep strikes, and he gets the CP when he kills a character. Which,
to be fair, I'm not too.
Fine. Not quite
I'm not too sad
damage,
that they've nerfed Heldrakes or like flying and therefore, or not flying aircraft, and therefore indirectly Heldrakes, because having played fucking aircraft that is obnoxious, it is really obnoxious. So yeah, I'm not too. If the price we have to pay for aircraft being gone is not playing Heldrakes, that is something I'll gladly pay. To be honest.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just annoying that the Heldrake, it just shouldn't be lumped in with aircraft. It should just be its like own kind of thing. I understand like lore-wise and everything, but it's a combat aircraft. It's like it's
so
not,
niche.
It's never.
It's only going to be useful if your opponent brings loads of aircraft, and in a meta where there isn't that much aircraft, it's just not that useful. I don't think. I mean, as you said, it's only to fly, but like. And
then like good aircraft would be like priced at 100 and 120 points anyway. Like the Eldar Hemlocks and shit like that would probably be dirt cheap, and then so
that's how the Heldrake would be good, is if it's in the Eldar Codex.
Yeah, basically. Okay, well that gives us our tier list. I don't know, like we are not a channel that preaches doctrine. We're not saying this is definitive. I think this is a general good base though for what the stronger and most efficient units versus the weaker, less efficient units are in the World Eaters Index. We can argue till the cows come home about whether the Rhino should be B tier or C tier, or whether Spawn are at the bottom of C or top of C. It's minutia. It's stuff that doesn't matter too much. But let us know in the Discord or wherever you chat to us. But Discord's the best place. What you think? How much you disagree? Comp General will be a good channel to discuss this. How much you disagree overall, because I don't know, I think it's fairly accurate based on the state of the game and our points and everything.
Yeah, I think as an internal measure for sure. If you start comparing this to like units in other codexes, obviously some of it will fall down. Like the Mo is not S tier in a world where pick broken Eldar unit, whatever. Raid Knights, I don't know what they are, what the good units are anymore for Eldar.
But or like if you're going against indirect spam and stuff, like, and you didn't bring a Rhino, then, okay. I think we can kind of wrap this one up. That's we've been here an hour and a half, which I think is pretty good. So all right, everyone. Thanks for coming along. I know we didn't really sort of like engage much with the chat, but this was more of a me and Jack kind of like bullshitting for an hour and a half. And Dara trolling us in the chat. He disagrees so much, apparently. Which, that's fine. We'll just go and bully you in chat now, Dara. Yeah. Alright, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And